How are you? Good morning, my friends. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic. My name is Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. How are you this morning? C. King, 7759. Good morning. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. A little bit warmer here today. Pushing 60, I think. Versus Skins, good morning. Paul, how are you? Versus Skins, just change your skin for the season you're in. Good morning, Bruce. Nice to have you along with us on Facebook. Sean with us on Facebook as well. Chris checking in from Kansas. How are things in the beautiful state of Kansas? I was wearing my Versus Skins. There's a Michael Essie. Also a Versus Skins guy and a Rapid River Knife guy as well. Eric, good morning. Ed, good morning. Brad, good morning. Grizz on Fire over on Instagram. How are you? Eric, good morning. D Poet, Brennan Ward joining us on Instagram as well. John Callison, good morning. Gail Owens on Instagram. Carl Crawford on Facebook. How are you, my friends? Mike is the owner of the biggest Versus Skins. Chris, good morning. How are you? This is another edition of Behind the Mic. So it's Mike behind the mic here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. Craig, good morning. How are you? C. King checking in from the Thumb. Terry, good morning. Nice to have you along with us. Randy, how are you, my friend? Ross Elliott, buddy. Always a pleasure, my friend. David, how are we doing? South Dakota bow hunting. How are things in South Dakota on your bow hunt? John, good morning. How are you, buddy? Scott Gatsa, good morning, my friend. The woods around Alpena, Mike, good morning. Tommy from the woods. Are you joining us from the woods this morning, Tommy? Bonita Springs, Florida, checking in. Gary, how are you? Hey, Andrew, nice to have you along with us. Always a pleasure, my friends, to join you live here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio as I get ready to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I'll tell you what that rundown looks like here in just a minute. Good morning, Heath. Missed you in Ohio, Heath. Want to see you. Sean or Sam checking in from the stand this morning. He says not a lot moving. Sam, of course, you can see Sam. See, this is interesting. Sam says not a lot moving where he is, and Grizz on Fire says the Bucks are chasing hard. It depends on where you are, right? I mean, and that's all that matters. Tommy's working today, not in the woods. Really, all that matters is deer movement where you are, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what they're doing a mile over. We only care about what's going on where we are right now. And right now, I'm in the radio studio. John says a very slow morning for sure. Jerry's out in the woods this morning. I was out opening morning. I have not been out since. I will be. My plan is to be out again tomorrow afternoon. Marty says a spike just came in. Good morning, Tony. How are you? How was deer camp? Hey, Paul, good morning. It wasn't really a camp. My son James, my grandson Trent, granddaughter Addison went out to our lease property in the central part of the state at work, making bucks instead of shooting them. We shot a 9-point opening morning. Good for you. Dave says light rain where he is. I went to the stand with my 30-06 and my dart and crossbow. Ed says he got 2 bucks. John saw a coyote. Do you know why so many deer processors have closed? Didn't know they had, Craig. Wasn't aware of that. I'm sure it's COVID, right? Because everything bad in the world is COVID related. Good morning, Nick. Nice to have you with us on Instagram. Julie, good morning. It was nice to see you in Sanford last week. Did you get your ham yet? By the way, speaking of hams, we will be doing our Ham for the Holidays giveaway every Wednesday Night Live. Thank you, Nick Grillo, and the folks at Michigan Brand Meats. Appreciate your generosity. Sportsman's Quest Outdoors checking in. Mike, nice to have you with us. Drop my buck off to Scott at Linwood Taxidermy. Brent, congrats on your big, beautiful Ohio buck. And Brent, you are planning on hopefully trying to join us for our get together. Didn't get it yet. All right, I'll check with Nick. It'll be there, I promise you. It'll be there in time for Thanksgiving. We will have a Michigan brand ham for our Thanksgiving along with a turkey. We'll have them both. Hey, Corey, nice to have you with us. How are you this morning? Yeah, Brent, it's quite a place down there at Bill's, isn't it? Bill and Joan and Neil. Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Hump day. You had your first wolf howl in the UP north of Iron Mountain. Johnny Bowler sent me some info about a pack of wolves who's taking down a miniature horse. It was, I can't remember where it was, but it was between Seney and Newberry, south of there. Good morning, Bernie. You will need to appoint a temporary timer tonight. All right. Bass team meeting at 7. Not so many hunters out. Love bow season. Not other hunters out is great. Not many out there for gun season, but sure they'll be here this weekend. You can bet they will. Saving money for it. Will put me on a lot of deer. Speaking of numbers, here in Michigan, hey Bob, how are things in Birch Run? Court, good morning. Nice to have you with us. Hunter numbers are down. Preliminary numbers. Have the Japanese beetles been driving you nuts in the deer blind? No, Kevin, they haven't. They haven't at all. Deer numbers are down. These are preliminary numbers. DNR won't have final numbers until after the season. But because I had heard horror stories about the number of Michigan deer license sales being down a lot. Well, they are down 4 to 5% over 2020. And you'll remember that in 2020, the numbers went through the roof because people weren't working. That's one good thing. We can credit COVID for that, right? The numbers were up significantly in 2020 because a lot of people were off work and they took that time to head out in the woods. So that was good. John checking in from the deer blind in Saginaw County. John, good luck to you. So the numbers are down, but not bad, 4 to 5%. The good news is the numbers are up over 2019. So we're holding a trend a little bit. Sherry checking in from Poseyville. How are you, Sherry? And that was the question, right? How VersaSkins, several VersaSkins customers harvested deer on the 15th. VersaSkins, just change your skin for the season you're in. Mike Van Wormer, I've been talking to your brother, Gabe. Good morning, Mike. How are you? They've taken up residence in his blind. Ooh, no, I haven't had that happen. Gabe will join me on the show next week, Mike. In fact, I tried to get him on this week. He was tied up, and then one of his kids are sick, so he would have been available after all. But I already have that spot filled. Bernie says, with the price of meat going sky high, he's happy to put venison in his freezer. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Don. Oh, it's Don. I called you Court. It's hard with the Instagram names, Don, to know who people really are. So I appreciate you pointing that out. Your name is Don. Good morning, Don. Mike says he feels sorry for your viewers. He won't be joining me here on this feed. He'll be joining me on the radio show. So it'll be our listeners who will hear Gabe's stories, not the viewers. Dave says no hunting for him this year. Brad says that's because the deer now have COVID. Why not? Everybody else does. Hey, Paul, good morning. How are you over on Instagram? Enjoyed having you on the radio show last week. How did you do, Paul Phillips? How did you do at Paul Jenkins opening day? Good morning, Ray. I told Paul Jenkins that if Paul Phillips is there, any deer within sight is in trouble because if Paul can see him, he could shoot him. Can you believe Thanksgiving is a week from tomorrow? Pat says no. Isn't that crazy? Good morning, Bill. Bill, how was your opening morning? How was your season so far? And you probably won't be around much longer. You're going to head down to Florida, I bet. Nothing yet, Paul says. And there's a gobble in honor of Thanksgiving next week. Let me tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week, because that's why I'm in the studio. Gina Cannell of Jay's Sporting Goods is going to join me. I want to talk to Gina about muzzleloading. Is it even a thing anymore? You know, muzzleloading used to be that season. Really, Bill? This is interesting. Bill Hoffman, the most interesting man in Michigan, says he has an idea for me. He got lost last week and the Roscommon Sheriff's Department had to save him. I would love to talk to you about that, Bill. Ken is listening while in the blind. Good luck to you, Ken. Phil tags in Florida fishing now. He filled his tags while bow hunting. He's in Florida fishing now. Bill, you are my hero. You are my idol. Good morning, Matt. Nice to have you with us. So Gina Cannell is going to talk about muzzleloading. My question is muzzleloading still even a thing? It used to be the season that gun hunters would go to after firearm season. 3.1 miles in the wrong direction. Bill, let's talk about it. Let's get you on the show next week. I have also been lost up in the woods around West Branch, and it's not fun, is it? Let's talk about it. Joe Armanovich, he harvested a buck in Michigan and Missouri so far, both with his crossbow, heading back to Missouri Friday morning for a rifle hunt. So my question, going back to Gina Cannell, is muzzleloading still a thing? Because now with the 450 Bushmaster, the 350 Legend, and the fact that in the southern part of the state, many people can be hunting with a center fire rifle, are people turning to muzzleloaders? Gina will tell us that. Then Elliot Schaefer of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In hour number 2, Joe Marion checks in. We're switching gears a little bit. Cold water safety. Ice fishing season is coming up. Nick Grillo, Michigan brand's coming out to slay the perch tomorrow with us. Can't wait for Butch to put on a jumbo perch clinic again. Central Coast Angling. That's right. Nick and Butch are fishing with you tomorrow. I thought they were fishing with Paul. Maybe they got 2 trips planned. Muzzle loader season downstate because it's better than a shotgun. Bill, I can't wait to hear your story. And then Nick Green of MUCC joins me. In hour number 3, Tim Roller of Whitetail Journey Tech checks in. All right, Joe, have a great day. If you want to hunt with black powder, better buy any components soon and good luck finding primers. That from my friend Craig Plowman. And, of course, Dave Miner will wrap it up, but I'm sure we'll have another venison recipe. LBL USMC. Now, I don't know what your real name is, but I think USMC stands for United States Marine Corps, doesn't it? Thank you for your service. Who do we call for beaver control? They have 80 acres underwater where we hunt, getting worse in state land. They're out of control. Probably fishing with Paul today. Grillos are a great example of passionate Michigan outdoorsmen. Indeed, they are. Good question, Marty. There's a trapper who would, yes, sir. But what's your first name? Can you help me out? Or if you don't want to share, that's fine as well. But Roger uses his muzzleloader throughout the entire gun season. Walmart in Fenton's got a large selection. I was out opening morning with my 30-06 and my muzzleloader, and to be honest with you, I was praying I didn't see a gun that I had to shoot with my 30-06, not muzzleloader, my crossbow, because I really want to take one with my crossbow. Nothing against guns, you know that. In fact, when I posted a picture of my dart and crossbow next to my 30-06, people are like, oh, Avery, you're breaking the law. Archery season is closed during the firearm season. You posted a picture of you breaking the law. You're going to get in trouble. Well, I appreciate people looking out for me. However, I wasn't going to get in trouble. Yes, indeed, the archery season does close during the firearm season. But you can still hunt with your bow or any archery gear during the firearm season. You just have to wear orange. In fact, my plan is to go out tomorrow night wearing orange, my Versa Skins orange, with my dart and crossbow, no rifle at all. My rifle will be back in the safe. My rifle came out for one day, opening season. I did it. I good. I'm done. And I'll go back to a crossbow. Mike says, gotta love it when people who really do not know the rules open their mouths. And some of those people, Mike, were legitimate questions, and some were like, Avery, you're an idiot, which I'm used to hearing, Avery, you're an idiot. I'm okay with that. I did have a guy, though. He posted yesterday, Avery, if you're going to use a crossbow, why not? If you're going to use your cross gun, why not just use your gun? And if you saw that series of posts on Facebook, you know that I had some fun with that. Here's a little tip, a little word of advice. Do not come on to one of my social media outlets and try to use it as a venue to belittle fellow hunters. It ain't going to fly. I have no tolerance. I have no patience for such idiocy. Because you can shoot a group at a target with 40 yards with your compound, if you want to consider that's what makes you a good hunter, fine, God bless you. But then don't talk down to other hunters who choose to use a crossbow, because the guy who was making fun of me for using a crossbow, keep in mind, brother, last year I was out there with a recurve. If you want to truly challenge yourself, put your compound down. If you want to shoot your mouth off about how a crossbow is an unfair tool, then put your compound down. Put your 30-06 down. Go out and make yourself a longbow and shoot cedar arrows with flint-tipped broadheads. If you want to truly challenge yourself, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. But don't open your mouth on my social media outlets about how a crossbow is unfair. Right? And I think if you saw those series of posts, you'll realize that he crawled back under his rock and he decided to become quiet. I want you to share your hunting adventures, your fishing adventures with me on my social media outlets. Share post the pictures. I'll share them. Marty says, take your handgun out. I think that would be cool. Jeff checking in from Texas. Jeff, how are things in Texas? Is it legal to use a spear? That'll get him going. Yes, a longbow with no sights. And that's what I was doing with my recurve. And it was a challenge. And I never shot a deer with it, but I enjoyed it. But I got to the point where I didn't have confidence in my recurve that I felt was necessary to be out there. I think if I'm out there going to try to take a deer or turkey or bear or anything else with whatever tool I have in my hands, I owe it to that game animal. Yeah, I owe it to that game animal to be confident that I can make a quick, clean, humane killing shot. And I got to the point, because I wasn't shooting my recurve as much as I needed to be confident I could do that, I went to a crossbow. I don't care what you hunt with. I don't care what you shoot. I tell you what, if you're on Instagram, do yourself a favor. Go to the Wolverine Outdoorsman page and check out his latest post about shooting a spike. I commented on that I think it is one of the best social media posts I have ever seen. And I'm trying to figure out a way to share it over on Facebook and to share it on my Instagram page, my Instagram feed, because I think it's outstanding. Hunt your hunt. Hunt your hunt. I hunt with a compound, crossbow, and rifle. I know I'm not proficient enough with a recurve. I totally agree with you. Use whatever you want. Use whatever gives you joy. Use whatever puts venison in your freezer. Really, shoot whatever deer you want that's legal. Use whatever tool you want that's legal and in season. And have fun. But don't feel the need to criticize or look down or belittle your fellow hunters. We got enough people outside the hunting community who want to take us down that we don't need our fellow hunters trying to take us down. I think it shows a real level of immaturity and maybe foolishness when people do that. Jeff says Texas is good. Unfortunately, not used his muzzleloader since he moved here in 2013. It's been that long, Jeff. What was the Instagram again, Joe? It is a Wolverine Sportsman or Wolverine Outdoorsman, and I apologize. I don't have it right here in front of me. He made a post about shooting a spike, and you need to read his comments. They're hilarious. Kathy almost got my personal best 10 point, but it went on the neighbor's property. They were nice enough to send you a picture. Just rubbing it in. Hey, Kathy. Good morning, Joe. How are you? Well, Pastor, you have your type of preaching and I have mine. And my way of preaching is get out there, continue the history, continue the tradition, continue this hunting heritage, use whatever weapon you want, whatever tool you want, shoot whatever animal you want that's legal, as long as you enjoy it, as long as you are challenging yourself, as long as you are putting venison in the freezer, that is all that matters. Don't let the outside pressure get to you. That's why I lost my interest in deer hunting. I let the outside naysayers get to me. Not anymore. So I'm going to go out tomorrow night. My plan is, Mike says, don't forget to have fun. My plan is to go out there tomorrow night with my dart and crossbow and shoot a doe. That's my goal, to go out with my dart and crossbow. I really want to put one of those Michigan-made rec broadheads through a big doe. Amen, Pastor. Amen. That's my goal. Tomorrow evening to shoot a doe with my crossbow during the rifle season, wearing orange and being completely legal. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but that's my goal.
15 seconds.
If a big buck walks in front of me, I will have no problem putting a broadhead through him as well, but I don't see it happening. The big bucks we had on trail camera have disappeared, as often do.
5,
4, 3. I forgot to start myself a timer, Pat. I forgot to start a timer. Now what am I going to do? Okay. Well, wing it, I guess. Now I got to go back to, here we are.
Close enough.
Close enough. I didn't start a timer. I usually have my screen split here where I've got my feed and then I got a timer going. And I forgot to split my screen. All right. I got to go to work here. So I'm not going to be able to interact with you directly. Join me tonight, 7 o'clock, Wednesday Night Live, another edition of Wednesday Night Live, where we're going to give away another ham for the holidays. And I'm going to see if I can start my screen. Okay, boom. Boom. All right, I'll just go with it. All right, my friends, have a great day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network, 32 AM and FM stations across the great state of Michigan, with a goal of promoting, defending, protecting, encouraging, educating, and enlightening people across the state, the great state of Michigan, about this outdoor lifestyle that many of us have such a passion for. Hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and all things outdoors. That's what this show is about. A celebration of the outdoor lifestyle here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. I was in the woods for the opening day of the firearm deer season, and it was great. I was out there with my son, James, my grandson, Trent, and my granddaughter, Addison. We all met there at the trucks, went our separate ways. We stayed in touch via texting. What are you seeing? What do you know? And that's changed, right? Since I was a kid. We know what deer are moving around the property. Plus, we've got cell cameras out there, so we can keep an eye on them as well. Nobody shot anything that opening day where we were. You know, no members of my family. But James had already taken a nice buck. Addison had already taken a nice buck. I know Trent's going to shoot something yet. And I was out there during gun season with my 30-06 leaning against the blind and with my dart and crossbow leaning against the blind. I was prepared for anything. I figure if something comes in that I want to shoot within 30 yards, I'm going to shoot it with a crossbow. If it's out there beyond that, I'm going to shoot it with a rifle. And can I be honest? I was kind of hoping it didn't come to the rifle. I really want to shoot something with my crossbow. I want to shoot a deer with my crossbow. I haven't done that yet this season. But it was just nice to be out there. It was nice To be honest, my 30-06, my deer rifle comes out of the gun safe probably one day a year for the opening day, to be a part of that celebration, to be a part of that history and tradition. Other than that, I pick up my crossbow. And my goal is, as we're recording the show, is I hope to, my goal is to go out tomorrow evening with that crossbow during the firearm season and shoot a big doe. We got a lot of big does running around, and I think they want to end up in my freezer. I don't know if they think that, but I think that's what should happen. So that's my goal. I don't have a feel yet for what the season is looking like across the state. I mean, if you go online, if you go to my Facebook page, you're going to see a lot of pictures of great big bucks and some smaller bucks and some tiny bucks and some does. And it doesn't matter. I will share pictures of any legal harvest, and I will celebrate that harvest, and I will celebrate that experience, and I will celebrate that adventure, because that's what it's all about. Would we all love to shoot a big buck? Any deer hunter who says, "Oh, I don't want to shoot a big buck," I think they're probably lying to you. And if I told you that, I'd be lying to you as well. Of course, I would love to shoot a big buck. But how many of us really get the opportunity to do that? To shoot a big buck, you've got to be willing to let the smaller bucks pass. And you've got to be in an area where those big bucks are. Not everybody in our state is so blessed to be able to do that. We are seeing a trend here in Michigan that hunters are starting to pass as a whole, as a group. And I credit the APR people for this, the Let Them Go, Let Them Grow people for this. I haven't always agreed with them, but I will give them credit that they have helped to change the mindset here in Michigan. And that's no small task. They've done that in only about 10 years. So good for them. I personally have no interest in shooting a 1.5-year-old buck. I've let a lot of them walk in front of me. If I'm going to shoot a buck, I want it to be a nice buck. But again, and I've said this every week, and I will say it every week. If you want to shoot a 1.5-year-old buck, if you want to shoot a spike, God bless you. Seriously. It is your hunt. It is your license. It is your tag. It is your adventure. It is your experience. Hunt your hunt. Whatever that is, whether it's a recurve, a crossbow, a compound, a muzzleloader, a 30-06, whatever it is, a 450, a 350, whatever, a handgun, whatever it is. I will celebrate your experience with you. I will congratulate you, and I will wish you well in eating that venison. That's what it's all about. You know, it was my dad who instilled this love of the outdoors in my soul. And I thank him for that. But I'm not alone. There are a lot of Michigan families like the Avery family. It is part of our history and tradition. And getting out there during gun season to try to put something down and put something in the freezer is an honorable goal. It is biologically sound. It is biologically necessary. If you want to go this route, and I will, it's ordained by God. Get out there, be safe, be legal, and have fun, and good luck to you. I told you I was out there opening day with my 30-06 centerfire rifle, obviously. A cheap Remington, but it'll do the job that I want it to do, and my dart and crossbow. And I took a picture of them side by side. They're in the blind. And I had some people react to that post saying, "Ooh, can you do that? Avery, we think you just posted a picture of you doing something illegal." I promise you this, I would never intentionally do anything illegal in the woods. And I would certainly hope I would never post a picture of me doing it. Yes, the archery season is closed during the firearm season in Michigan. But that doesn't mean you can't hunt with archery tackle during the firearm season. You can, but you have to wear Blaze Orange. That's all it is. You can sit in your tree stand with your recurve, your compound, your crossbow, your longbow. As long as you've got orange on, you're legal. You can do it. So if that's what drives you, then continue to do it. Have at it. I had heard reports, and these are all preliminary. We won't know the final numbers until after the season, but there was some talk going around that the number of Michigan hunters, the number of Michigan deer license sales had dropped precipitously. Fortunately, Precipitously is a subjective term. The numbers are down, yes. Now, you will remember that in 2020, license sales took a big jump. And the thinking was, okay, there were a lot of people that were not working because of COVID. They had time on their hands. They were looking for something to do, and they got back into deer hunting. They got back into the woods. And I thought that was one positive thing to come out of COVID. The question, the concern was, can we continue that trend? Or is this just a one-time blip in the road, a positive blip? Can we continue those numbers? Preliminary numbers for 2021 show that license sales are down 4 to 5% over 2020. Is that good news? No, of course not. But the good news in this is the numbers are still higher than what they were in 2019. So we gained a whole bunch of hunters in 2020. We lost some of those, but our numbers are still higher than they were in 2019. So I consider that to be positive. I'm going to try to always look for the positive if I can, right? If there's something positive in a situation, I'm going to do my best to bring that out and bring that to light. So how have you done, by the way? Did you shoot your buck? Did you get your doe? Were you hunting in the snow up north? Were you hunting in the cornfields, the probably now picked cornfields of southern Michigan? Were you using your 450, your 350, your .6, your crossbow, whatever it was? It's a wonderful tradition, and there are some states in the country who can share this deer hunting tradition that we have. Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Texas. But it's something we have here that is unique, and I would encourage you, even though it's, it can be cold and it can be miserable, you can dress for it, you can be warm, get out there and take advantage of it. And can you believe, as you are hearing this radio show or podcast, can you believe that Thursday is Thanksgiving? Where did that come from? How did that happen? When I was a kid growing up, we'd go out and hunt opening day, maybe the second day, maybe the third, and then really not hunt again until maybe the Thanksgiving weekend. So there's still time. And then, of course, there's the late season coming up. The rundown for this week's show, coming up after the break, Gina Cannell of Jay's Sporting Goods. And I want to talk to her about muzzle loading. Is it still a thing anymore? Now that in the southern part of the state, some places you can use a center fire rifle, you got the 450, the 350. Are people still even getting out there muzzle loading hunting? We'll talk to her about that. Can you get ammo? Can you get handguns? And then Elliot Schaefer of the Michigan Wildlife Council will check in with an update on their Here for Generations campaign. In hour number 2, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Retired Coastie, to me, Coastie, retired Coast Guardsman, Coastie is a term of affection, respect. Joe Marion talking about cold water safety. Ice fishing season's coming up. A lot of people are still out there on the open water. You got to keep your wits about you in near freezing water. Nick Green of MUCC joins us toward the end of hour number 2. And in hour number 3, we'll go back to deer hunting, talk with Tim Roller of Whitetail Journey, and then wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner will have another great venison recipe. So a busy show coming up. I'm glad you're with us here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. 32 stations across the great state of Michigan. Again, so glad to have you along with us. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, and the website is mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Feel free to check in. Feel free to send me a message. Share your pictures to my Facebook page. Post them, and I will be sure to share them. Glad you're with us this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. Pretty good for not having a timer, Pat.
No.
I got to try to get back to the page where I was at here so I can... So there we go. All right, my friends. Have a great day. Oh, the video was blacked out. Oh, okay. When I switched, I see what happened here, Dave. Appreciate you bringing that up. When I switched over to try to find my timer, I actually lost that feed. Okay. Well, I will try not to do that again. That was my bad, and I forgot to split my screen and put my timer up. Anyway, we will move along. Have a great day, my friends. If you can, join me tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live on the Facebook page, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and maybe on Instagram as well, where we will give away another ham for the holidays, courtesy of our friends at Michigan Brand Meats. In the meantime, have a great day.